I am here with Todd Sawicki from Gumshoe. Very excited here at the Saturnalia Château. There have been, obviously, there are enormous changes from AI. One of the most interesting areas in which we are excited at the Imaginarium are the impact to search and how the customer journey is impacted. Incredibly interesting platform that you are building right now.
Thank you.
To help understand how LLMs are effectively identifying and the problems that B2B companies are solving. Why don't you tell us a little, 2 seconds about Gumshoe, and more interesting, about the strategic challenge marketers have today?
So Gumshoe is a company that helps brands understand, or companies understand how LLMs think about them with regards to their customers. Customers are going out now asking questions. And because search doesn't really work, especially for B2B, asking a deep, detailed question to search sucks. So they go to LLMs, and they get great responses. And it's become a much better way for people to learn and discover information, especially in B2B. And so as a marketer now, if my customers are no longer using Google, how are they finding out about me? And I better understand how that happens.
B2B, more than many other areas, LLMs like OpenAI or Gemini give really thoughtful responses that can have a significant impact on the buyer's journey. How does Gumshoe kind of help solve that challenge?
So
For a marketer who wants to influence that.
From a marketer. So one of the interesting things about Gumshoe is we help marketers, help them understand how LMs think about that, how they think about the different pieces of the customer journey, of the different profiles or personas. Like we in B2B use the term ICP, ideal customer profiles. And you mentioned buyer committees, and who are the people who are involved in answering that. And so one of the things that we do is help marketers understand how do LLMs think about that, and how the LLMs think about the different personas in a purchasing decision, and how they come to those decisions, and how those different people think about that information, how LLMs respond to that. Because that's one of the interesting things about LLMs is that they really try to answer the question in the way and specific to a person. They're trying to personalize it. And so when you register with an LLM, it's looking you up. It knows where you work. It knows your title. It's consumed your LinkedIn profile. And so as a result,
That's a really interesting, I mean, that is something that I have not thought about until we spoke about it earlier. The reality that if I prompt an LLM, it is going to be wildly different than if, I'm a B2B agency, than if one of my clients prompts that same LLM.
Exactly, a very different answer. And it's trying, so if you think about the buyer journey, right, the influencer to that, you have the technical influencer is going to get a different answer. They're going to get a more technical answer. The financial person who's responsible for negotiating pricing is going to get a different answer. And it's going to be tailored to their point of view. And so as a marketer, you've often had to spend hours trying to, and dollars and efforts to solve for that. And now LLMs, interestingly enough, is you can now learn, or we help you learn, what do the LLMs think about that, and how do you learn how they adapt to that part of the buyer's journeys.
And so using the kind of insight that you can now derive through a tool like your platform, what is the impact for a B2B marketer, right?
I think that the impact is your customers are leaving Google faster than you can snap a finger. And so what we're seeing is that the number one channel for traffic that's growing for B2B marketers is AI search. And so you're going to have to adapt how you think about it. Now, the good news is you've thought primarily probably about content marketing, right? That's probably the primary tool that B2B marketers use. And so what's fascinating is that LLMs love that. They're reading it. They're consuming all that information and using that to kind of teach them how they should answer questions on your behalf.
Right.
And so I think the biggest thing is you now have an opportunity to work and train and market to these models. And that's kind of what our platform helps you understand, is what the LLMs think about you and your product and your offering. And then as a result of that, you can now respond, kind of have a conversation with these LLMs, kind of indirectly, right? And you produce content, they crawl it, they learn something, they start answering questions, you start kind of monitoring that. It's kind of what we do, and help you and your customers figure that out. And then no, you answered that question wrong. You as the marketer now, and then you say, oh, hey, LLM, I want you to, here's what you really need to say next time this comes up. And that's kind of the difference here is the analogy is they're kind of a reseller. They're a VAR for you now.
Right.
And your job is to train them, right? Your job is to train them. And so the interesting thing is a marketer, whereas search was this weird technical thing where you had to do link building and HTML
tags
and all sorts of weird codey things. Now, as a marketer, your job, just like you train a VAR, is you have to train the LLM, and you're going to use content, and you're going to use training and questions and the things you might do in a seminar. You still do the seminar for humans, but by the way, make sure you put a transcript of that online. The LLMs will consume that, and then they'll learn from that, and then they'll help you sell to your customers.
So exciting. Well, we are racing into our brave new world. Thank you so much for dropping by the Saturnalia
Happy to be here.
Château. A lot of exciting things AI is impacting, and really thrilled to be able to chat with you about that today.
Thank you very much.